Welcome to Eventual Millionaire. I'm Jamie Masters, and today on the show we have Ajay Prasad back on. He runs GMR Web Team and also GMR Transcription, and he has a brand new business and company called Repugen, and I'm really excited to find out more about that. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
I'm thrilled to be here, Jamie. You just have to pardon. I have a little bit of a sore throat, so I hope that you can still hear me.
Yes, I definitely can. Apparently, I have strep throat also, by the way, and I had bronchitis and the sinus infection last week, so I totally understand where you're at. I was so happy I have a voice, so we'll do the best we can with what we've got. So last time on the show, you told us a lot about the digital agency side and creating that transcription company that you've been running very successfully. But this time, and we chatted a little bit about this offline already, but this time you're creating a new thing, and I wanted to ask you a little bit more about it. So tell me a little bit about Repugen and why you even created it.
So, Repugen is a platform that we have created that number one measures customer satisfaction and creates like a database so that you know where you are operationally, where you are excelling, and where you need some help. And then it also helps add positive reviews online. So it is, you can say it's an online reputation generation tool. That's how Repugen came. So obviously I'm not that creative. So the goal is to really generate online reviews for businesses, and especially small businesses, because it's a huge issue. And then also in the process, you also get the data that helps you understand what else you can do to even improve your operations and get even more better reviews.
How the heck can you get software to help people get more reviews? Because I mean, as a business coach, I try and get people to do and get reviews, and sometimes like Yelp will not use them, and it's a pain in the butt. You have to use different IP addresses. You can't have it, you can't fake it, which is great and on purpose. But how do you actually use software to do that?
Yeah, so first thing that you are all, whatever you said is all correct. Yelp will not let you do that, and I tell as to all my clients for digital marketing, I always say don't even try it. It's not worth trying to fake reviews. So what this software is doing is actually something that I've been using sort of manually for my clients. So back in, I would say 2012 or so, it became very clear that online reviews were very important for a couple of reasons. You had, of course, for SEO, you need that because Google looks at positive signals as something that is very helpful. And the other thing is that customers started to use these online reviews in their decision to make purchase or even contact these businesses. So I had created a very elaborate, back in 2012, elaborate customer review program, and not to do anything funny. So what we did is I created like a simple questionnaire that I would ask everyone, I would ask the front desk or the owner to ask all their customers after they have used their services. And then if the customer said, well, you could have improved on that, then you just take that information and then you do something about it. And then the customers who said I'm really very happy, then we had printed a card for the customers where they had link of all their social media on that card. And so they will hand over the card and say, we'll really appreciate you if you can write about your experience on the internet. So we were doing it, and even this manual program, I had some customers who, when they started, had like 7 reviews and average 1.2 Yelp rating because, and by the way, it's not because they were horrible. What happens, that is just the human nature that when you are happy then you go out and you say everything was great, and then you go and forget about it.
Yeah.
But if you are upset, then you go and you vent, and then so the only unhappy people are likely to write reviews, generally speaking. So unless you have a process in place to ask happy people to do it. So that's the reason why I said ask the happy people to write a review.
So
we got some. Yeah.
No, what's funny is I was just at a spa this past weekend over in San Francisco, and they had, when I was looking up their Yelp reviews, there was one person that was so mad, like
Yeah.
hated them. I went in anyway because they had pretty good reviews in
Hmm.
general when you actually read through the rest of them. And they did this exact process that you said. So they were like, "Oh, were you happy?" We were like, "Yes, it was amazing." And the guy that she said was horrible was actually really fantastic. Apparently, she was
Uh-huh.
drunk. They're like, "So this woman
Uh,
came in and she was drunk, and then she posted on Yelp." And so they gave us a card, and they're like, "Please, please, please, put a happy
exactly.
review." And so of course we did. But how do you know? Are you just planning on giving out cards and just crossing your fingers and hoping that they care enough about you as a business and story to actually do it?
So that was the original plan, and just like with this lady, it worked for the clients. But what happened that some clients did a very good job. So I had this urgent care center who had started with 1.2, and
Wow.
literally with this program, after 6 months, her review average was 4 point something, and she already had like 75 reviews. So
Wow.
so now all of a sudden everything is hunky dory, right? But then there were clients who were, like they felt even uncomfortable asking for reviews. So some got really busy. So the execution level was very spotty. And that was my big frustration because the reviews had become started to become more and more critical, really, for online marketing success. So last year around, I would say same time around last year, I said, I have to do something so that I take this human interaction, how good you are doing and how good you are at begging or asking or for reviews, should not be part of the. So how do I take this out of the and automate it so that even the shyest of the shy business people have no problem with this. So that's where I created a platform. So we started, and as you know, I have a team of programmers, very large team. So I created a scope, and we created a platform where all you had to do. So it did all the manual thing, but it did automatically. So all you have to do now on this platform is add the customer information, which is just a name, the email address, and also the cell number if you have them. And what it does is, instead of you asking, the system will send out a text saying, give us your feedback, or how do you rate, or would you recommend, and on the scale of 1 to 10, right? So the customers give that number. So what we have done is we created three, you can say, interpretations. So if someone gives you 9 and 10, they, what we call you, they are very happy, and they are your potential advocates, so they will talk for you. If someone gives you 7 and 8, we think that they're neutral. So they are just happy, but it's not like, how it is, everything was fine but nothing to write home about, kind of attitude. So it's like, okay, so those are the people. We just say thank you very much for taking the survey. And then there are people who are 1 to 6 who are unhappy, in our words. So we just ask them to rate us, right? And whatever is the rating, based on that they get a message. So if you rated 3, like, or anywhere from 1 to 6, then you see right there a message saying, we are really sorry that we could not satisfy you, let us know what happened, and we will get back to you, and we'll address it, right? So the logic is that first thing, you get the customer feedback, and the second, I will say, the fringe benefit is that if the customer is unhappy, they just want to vent. So you have given a chance to vent to you, right? And not even directly, so they can write now whatever they want, and they're sort of done. But I always tell my clients that please take care of the customers. So that's the only way you are going to be ultimately be succeeding. If you get 7 and 8, which is neutral zone, then we'll say thank you very much for taking the survey. That's it. And then if you said 9 and 10, then we say, thank you very much, and then you get a message something like, online reviews are really lifeblood of our business, so do you mind writing a review? And right there you have the link, so you can either touch on it on the smartphone, and then you can select on the link to Yelp and Facebook or whatever. So whatever you have on your phone, you can just touch, and you can write a review. if you did not do the response, if you did not responded on the text message, then next day you get an email. Okay, and then email we do follow up for someone who did not do it, but it's the same process. Ask you to rate, and based on your rating, and then of course for everything we do ask them and say, let us know why you are rating us, giving us this number. So that's why they can vent. So this is the simple process. So now, once it is set up, which is very easy to go and set up, all you have to do is after you're done with the customer. So we have some doctor groups that load it at the end of the day, every day, the information, and then they get the surveys, and they are getting steady number of positive reviews. They get when they get negative, they know what the problem is, and the best part is that for the management, they can see which doctor is satisfying the customer, because we have the data on the back end that that you can see the satisfaction number rating by doctors and the comments and everything.
Wow.
So it becomes a tool for your business management. At the same time, you get a steady positive reviews. And the reason I'm saying positive, because I'm really asking people anyway to write reviews who are very happy. So before, they ask you manually, right? Like this lady asked you when you were there and say, were you happy? You said, yeah, it was great. Then so, can you please write a review? It's doing the same thing, except now it's automatically the system is doing. So we created this platform, and it is pretty simple, but at the same time, when you have to build, it took us 6-7 months. In February we did a beta launch. There are some aspect of it that was patentable, so we have filed for patent also. So it's patent pending technology. And about, I would say, 2 months back we launched it. We have about 70-80 people right now that are using it, and they're getting excellent results. But at the same time, I'm constantly trying to improve, and the improvement is not on the engine. So now where I'm focused on improving is what percent of the customer first give you the rating, how can I get a higher percent, and then how do I get a higher percent of the people to write reviews. And frankly, that's where I am also talking to your friend, and that you introduced me to.
Oh, Matthew.
Because Matthew, because he's the expert in messaging. So all I want to do is make my message sharp, so that more people will write reviews. So this is the technology. This is what I started, and really, like I said, I did that. I basically automated a manual process, and then I did it so that all my clients and then all the business get a consistent level of performance, versus the ones who are very nice with asking review get more reviews than ones who are not, which is in reality, you want to look at the review as a real reflection of that business, not as how friendly this person is in terms of asking review.
Well, that's a great point though too, because when we're looking at moving forward, I'm thinking of all the businesses right now that are dealing with this, because it's such a thing now. Do you specifically, is it Yelp that's better? And this is mostly for like physical businesses. It seems funny that we only do physical business or like reviews on Amazon physical product. Those things are huge. So for like the physical type businesses, is Yelp better? Is Google better? Are we trying to do all of them all at once? Like for the small business owner, what's the best route to try and make their reviews better?
Yelp typically for small business is very important for local businesses. So we always say you should do Yelp. Google is you. Some people use it, but one of the reason you want to have Google is when someone is searching for your business, and if you have a Google ranking, then that shows up. So it is always more impressive that people see your business found, and underneath it says rating whatever 4.7, 20 people. And it also helps you with the search algorithm. So you want to do Google, and then it depends on. I always tell everyone you should have Facebook, because everyone has Facebook. Remember, part of the reason thing that now we are asking is our philosophy is to ask people to write review on the platform they are most active on. So if you are not active on Yelp, even if you like me enough to go and create your own account and write a review, you will be put in the sandbox. It will not show up anyway. But if you're a regular Yelper, you should do that. If you have a Gmail account, we say write it on Google, Facebook, and then depending on the business. So, for example, I have a pretty decent number of clients from the medical care industry. So for doctors, there are sites like Rate MD, Vitals. Those are very important. So what we do is in our setup. So you have to create those profiles, and if someone does not have a profile, we offer that service also that we will create it for you. But then when we ask people to rate, we just basically give them all the options. Just rate on any one of them.
Okay.
And
so the text message is super long with like Yelp, Google, blah, 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 or no?
No, what happened, that text message is very simple, right? So when you are doing text message, it just simply says rate it. Now, once you have done that, then you get a message with a link basically, and that opens up on there and say, please review, touch here. So when you do that, a page pops up, right? And now you have information. So it just simply says what it is, and Yelp, and it will say if you are active on Yelp. Google, G Plus if you have a Gmail account, and that, so they give the option, they can touch on any of them. Now they are out of the you can say the text space. They are now on the internet space. So then they can go and write it whatever they want.
How important do you think this is for non-physical businesses? So I know what's interesting is like digital agencies or coaching companies or service more based companies that don't have like a local presence, and it's just not as common. Though I interviewed Jay Baer from Hug Your Haters is his new book, and it's all about reputation management. And what's so interesting is that it's still talked about. Well, it might be on Twitter or something like that, but they're not used in these platforms. What do you think for reputation management that people in sort of the service-based or the people that don't have that side?
In fact, to give you a very interesting stats, 92% of the consumers read online reviews before they contact a business. 92%.
A lot. I do.
So yeah, exactly. So the thing is that no matter what business you are in, you should be doing that. You already know that I have two businesses. One is the digital marketing agency, other is the transcription company. And whenever someone contacts us, we always ask them, how did you find us? And it is surprising how often, I hear Yelp. I found you on Yelp.
Wow.
It's really interesting. Once in a while we get even G plus. Most of the time it's Google search and everything, but it's not unusual. And for people to look for you for Yelp. Now the medical is a service industry, right? In a medical profession, we have typical urgent cares that I have. They get 35 to 40 new patient every month from Yelp.
Wow.
Because it's not that people go on Yelp per se, but if you have a really good review on Yelp, especially a local business, your Yelp account will pop up when someone is searching for that service if it is optimized. So then you get intrigued. You are looking for urgent care center. You see, oh, this place has a Yelp for 1.4.7, 89 reviews. So you click and see that, and you contact them. So we get, for digital agency, we get calls. So I don't think that there's any business now that does not need online review. And remember, if you don't have good online reviews, Google takes it. This has a signal for ranking also, right? So Google is, if you don't have online reviews, it also hurts with your ranking at Google. So you have to have that anyway. So I really don't think that there's any business who should not have it. The only business that can do without it, if you're a big brand. So, if you're Nike and all that, although even there, you should be active on social media, and this platform helps more people get on social media, right? Facebook, you just click and like, and all of a sudden you are part of that group. But really large companies, they don't care about Yelp, and they should not, because it's not relevant. You're not going to go on Yelp to look for Nike reviews.
That's funny. But the good thing is like if you go on Amazon, we still have Nike shoes and what their reviews are per thing.
Exactly right.
So yeah.
And then the beauty of this, the platform is that suppose you are selling something on Amazon, and you want people to write a review on Amazon. So you can give that link also.
Oh, wow.
On this platform, so that when people see, they say, or click and write a review on Amazon. and they can click and they go and they can write reviews. So the idea is to encourage people to write reviews wherever they can. For we were very surprised. I will tell you, sometimes it tells you how little you think, that people think that I know everything and how little they know. We thought that we knew everything about marketing, and for these doctors that we were marketing. And I'm like, yeah, rate, for SEO, it makes sense to have Rate MD and Vitals and all those things. So they're created. I don't think people are going to go and check them on Vitals and Rate MD. But of course, for review also, we just added it. And as they have started getting reviews on those sites, I mean, first thing, I was surprised how many people go and write it on Rate MD. And part of the reason is that if you want to write on Rate MD, then you don't have to register and all that. You can just go and write.
Nice.
And or Vitals on all these specialized sites. But more, I'm surprised because they track. These are my clients, so they also track how people, where they came from. I'm just surprised how many people are coming, calling them after checking their profile on RateMD.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I had never imagined that will happen. So again, you don't know where your customers are going, so you're better off getting all the places where your potential customer can go to write review. And this is like because it's an ongoing process, it just builds. Gradually it will start building, and then very soon you have 5 reviews, 10 reviews. And by the way, just so that you know, if you have 9 to 10, if you have 10 or more reviews, your trustworthiness is already over 90%. So 90% of the people don't care if you have 10 or you have 100. Another reason you want something like Repugen to keep on adding reviews is because Yelp and both Google Plus, they have already announced that they will start removing older reviews.
Huh.
So you see, right now you can go on Yelp and someone who wrote a review 5 years back is still showing up. But in reality, as a business owner, yourself and myself, who cares what was 5 years? It doesn't matter.
Different employees, it could be different management. You have no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why they have started to remove the older reviews, which means that you have to keep on refreshing and adding new reviews. And this is the kind of software that makes it very easy for you to just keep on adding.
So what made you even create that? Because you have 2 other businesses. So what I would love to do is sort of shift a little bit and find out the sort of how you created it. I know you have a team. It's going to be, a lot of people will be like, well, of course, you had a team. That's way easier. But it also took your focus away from the other 2 businesses. So Tell me about that, and then tell me about the marketing plan to get those first 80 customers that you've gotten.
Mm-hmm. So first thing, just so that you know, I was not even thinking that I will make it a product. This is no different than GMR transcription, where I just wanted to create a business to test my marketing thing, right? So I really created it because the level of execution of this reputation program that I said, the manual process, was so spotty for my customers. And I was so frustrated because, the digital marketing effort was hurting, their conversion was hurting because they couldn't do that. And they were like, yes, AJ, we'll do it, So I really needed to do something so that I can take this subjectivity out of it, how well, they can execute this manual program. So I wanted to automate it. So that was the big reason, because I really was, if I didn't have a program to continuously add reviews, the digital marketing effort would start failing. So I just did it for my customers to start with. Once this thing was, and that's why this was launched in actually late January, this product. And then I offered it to my customers, and we added it, and this was like an engine. Think of it, there was an engine, and I was the only one who could start it. So we went to the customers, we say, hey, you need that, and we are offering this. How about, I'll give you a discount, but you really need more reviews. And almost all my customers said, oh my God, even the ones who were doing a brilliant job of adding reviews, like, oh my God, this is such a relief. So we added that, my own customers. And then literally by early February, we added it. And literally by March, we could see the improvement. not just on the review, but as I expected, improvement in their search ranking, improvement in the conversion, because people were, after they find them, they started to find them more credible because all these reviews. So in March or so, just like on transcription, once I realized that there is a market, I said, okay, let's plan a business around it. So in March, I decided that what I want to do is put a skin on it. This is the engine that I wanted to do, where anyone can buy a car and put the keys and start driving, right? So that was so I started to put the body and user interface and all these, the things that you need to have for someone to just go sign and start using this, because I could see that I will have, if one of these is I get 1,000 customers, I will be thrilled, but but only 1,000 people will be using this Repugen. But this is such a standalone business, and frankly, even the name was not there. I mean, this was the engine that I was using for my clients, right? So then we looked at the name. We did some naming brainstorming. We said, okay, name this. Then
how did you pick the name? Yeah, how did you actually? Because that's a hard thing for people. I mean, it's a cool name. So how did you actually make the decision? Especially, are the domains available or anything like that? How do you go about that process?
Exactly. So this is what we did. I, being a digital marketing agency, so you always have very young employees. So I have, my oldest employee is 3 years out of school in my US office, right?
Oh, wow.
So 5 of the marketing people, I sat down and I explained to them, this is the product, that this is what we are trying to do. So let's start thinking about some name. And these are like the kids. I mean, they are throwing things on the wall, right? So when they started to do that, and they were like something like 60, 70 names were thrown, and someone said Repugen, right? I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. So then we shortlisted 5 or 6 out of that, right? And then in my office, we have of course, we have one of those computers, or the screen that you can see on the wall. So I just asked one of the guys to start typing those on, go to in my account in GoDaddy, start checking those names. So first name not available, and we, she typed Repugen, and lo and behold, it's available. So I'm like, oh, okay. So
that's insane that's available. Great.
so that's how and it really started. Although I do some testing, and there are platforms on which you can test the name, and some people said very relevant, makes sense, but then there were people who said really bad. And
really, what were the platforms that you can test that? Because I don't know those.
There's a platform called Fiverr. I will send that to you.
Okay.
So there you can literally they charge people. So what they have a very interesting platform, right? They have all these people who have agreed to review. I don't know how much they pay, or if they pay anything to these people.
Okay.
And then they charge you money to get the review. So you put it down, and then all these people review, and they send you the comment. So one of the comment that I get was, I start typing on Google bar, and the first word that came out was repugnant. and I'm like, okay, I get it, but I basically said, okay, yeah, I understand, but I think that the name sort of a good reflection of what we are trying to do. And so this is a very typical, by the way, gaming or the naming procedure that I used before when in my corporate world. That's what we used to do, is just to start throwing names. It's like instantaneously what comes into the mind with this product, and start writing on the whiteboard. And then we shortlist, and then discuss about it, further shortlist. And now, of course, after you shortlist, you have to see if this thing available, the domain.
Definitely. It's such a huge deal right now. Okay, so yeah. You got the reviews, and the reviews were like, some were great and some weren't. How do you make the decision to go, you know what, I'm using it anyway. I don't care if people don't like it.
I started to look at the overall, and I saw why Google is doing it now. See, repugnant is because very few people are typing REPUG kind of thing, so it pops up. But I know that if I have even a traffic of 5,000 per month on the website, if you type REPU, the Repugen will come on top. So I understand the Google algorithm, and so I said, I know it is what they are saying. So, many people, you don't necessarily just type Google on Google Repugen, right? You just go and say repugen.com. Then you don't see any of those kind of things. So that's where I think that is a temporary problem, and it will go away.
Especially how many people are searching for repugnant. So like you maybe can overtake them and have yours come out first, But that's amazing that you made the decision, because I have a lot of people that are in the naming spots, and they tell people and they get bad reviews or bad feedback, and they're like, I have to change it. But for you, you're like, okay, let me think about this logically and let me see what the detriment is before I make the decision.
Yeah, and you see the reason for why, and like I said, no one said that this is really bad. The biggest complaint was, or there were like two people who said, when I started to Google it, the repugnant came first. It's like, okay.
I love that. Okay. So make sure, I'm going to ask you for the link later for the reviews, because I think that's extremely important. But tell me about the marketing plan. How did you get the first 80 people?
It was very simple, frankly, for me. So I started with my own customers, and I started to offer them, and I gave them a discount and say, hey, this is the product that I've created that will replace your manual process. So we signed 30, 40 of them immediately, my clients, and they started using it because I wanted to see how it works. And I even gave them like 3 months free. It's like, first 3 months, no charge. And after that, if you are still happy, I will ask you if you are happy. And if you say yes, then I will charge you this much. So every 100% of them, sure, they will do that. And by the way, all of them are paying. So no one said dropped out. So
that is validation, isn't it? You're like, exactly. Yeah, it worked. Okay, great.
and then the other thing that I started doing is started offering this as part of the bundle. So anyone who came for digital marketing, since January, after we launched the engine part of it, then we'll say, okay, and we will also give you, this, and there's this cost, but it also will build reviews, online reviews. And everyone who is coming for digital marketing basically knows how important it is to have online reviews. So I never had any problem. But then also what has happened that several of those prospects that came to us and asked for proposal came back and said, right now we decided not to go with the whole program, but we want to do this reputation development, Repugen.
Oh, perfect.
So that's how I got it. And like I said, because the site was not ready for, to send it to people who can just go and sign up and kind of set up the account and start using it. So we were doing it, through the manual process. And now that it is there, and we have some number, and we have some stats. So now we are chalking out a plan to do a broader
Well, that's why you contacted me. So this is what I loved, and maybe we could talk about this in general. So I love that you are the owner of the company, and you have a big team, but you're the one that was like, hey, Jamie, I'm putting out this new thing. Can I come back on the show? And I'm like, awesome. I love talking about, especially from serial entrepreneurs, talking about their new thing, because I feel like you've done this before. You have a specific plan. So what is your plan then to get the first 1,000 customers?
So there are two approaches that I'm trying. One is, of course, we have a list, and we have e-buzz that we send out, and it goes to something like 3,000 business owners. Mm-hmm. So we will be promoting through our newsletter program, and the other program that I am very high on, because this is so important, that almost no business coach will say, oh, you don't need this online reputation. So I have created an affiliate program, and we will be launching it to the business coaches and see if they are interested in doing an affiliate program. And I know that you do some business coaching yourself.
Smart man. He's like, ooh, this is great. That's awesome.
So that is the program. Again, since this thing is so needed, and this makes life so much more easier for the business owners in terms of getting online reviews. So we are going to be so that is another approach that we are trying. Once you have, like you said, first 1,000, once you have 1,000, then you have momentum and people start to come and sign on their own.
Well, what's so amazing, and this is what I highlight to every brand new business owner, because a lot of people that are listening that don't have a business yet, the validation that you've done is insane. It's a product that people are like, oh my gosh, I want that really, really bad in advance. So it's not like you have to convince people, because
Correct.
that's where people sort of get stuck in their business validation. They have to like convince people, and maybe they have 10, but they're like really trying to get those 10. Whereas for you, you just sort of offered it, and everyone's like, yes, I definitely want this. That makes all of your marketing efforts so much easier.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to deliver what you say you're going to deliver, because otherwise
Correct.
they're not going to care.
And frankly, before even I started to build the platform, there are some of my clients that I'm very close to, like I'm their advisor. So for example, one of my client who has recommended, I think that I have 6 more clients because of her. She's a dentist, and she runs a dental office, and she's also a dental marketing expert in Des Moines, Iowa. And so I called her and I said, this is so spotty right now. What is happening? Can you tell me? And she's like, hey, the front desk, this one of my front desk person is very shy. She's afraid of asking. So and so is so bold. So you can see on Tuesday you get a lot of cards we give up on. So then I bounced this idea off to them, and she's like, God, I love it for 2 things. First, I don't have to worry about whether someone is shy or or not shy.
Yeah.
So it is taken care of. And secondly, she also employs, like, I think 22 dentists or something that works in her office. And she said, I would love to, because now I can rate the customer satisfaction by dentists.
Yeah.
What I can do is I can do some contests there, and who gets the highest satisfaction. So her idea is that even operationally I can help it. Similarly, I have a hospital that is the client. Doctors are excited about getting more reviews, but their vice president, who was my original contact through which we started it, she is more intrigued about the results that she's getting, the rating by doctors and everything, because gives her a good idea. So everyone is getting something, and again, remember, this is not just asking people for review, like this lady that asked you about the review. If you wrote it, is great, right? If you were not happy, then she wouldn't give you a card and you leave, but she would never be able to reach back to you and say, this, Jamie, this is what I can do to take care of my sin last time, and I'm sure that you'll be happy, right? This is a tool now that all of a sudden first, if you're a business owner, you can see a trend. You can see customers are always complaining about this issue, so you can address your business. So this is a much more. It depends on, people can use it to improve their business, and like I tell my clients, remember, when you improve your business, you also get more reviews, better reviews.
Well, and like you were saying too, it's the people that are really, really unhappy that post on Yelp or whatever. And so sometimes business owners are like, well, that was just one incident. But if you're doing a bunch and you're getting a bunch of people that say like 5, it's not like they hate you. But that feedback, especially the data, if you have a bunch of them all saying the same thing, like that's huge for us as business owners to know which place to focus on and which not, because we only have so much time. It's insane.
Exactly.
So live feedback.
By the way, next level of development that I'm doing on Repugen is putting more analytics behind, so that business owners can get feedback and say the area of improvements, the rating. And so right now, with the results of my client, I'm asking them what pieces they are using a lot. And then actually, I'm talking from India, by the way. I came here 2 days back, and on Wednesday, I'm coming back to US.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize.
So I'm spending time with my team here to really go over the features and see what are the features that we can add, and set up some priorities.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting customer feedback, and say my friend or my client at this healthcare business where we are rating all the doctors, she didn't say that you added, but because they are also our digital marketing client, right? So every week she's saying, every month or every week, actually in the beginning, she's saying, can you from Repugen pull this data and send me a report? So after seeing it 6 times, and then I
Yeah.
realizing that that Stephanie, my dentist, client, she seems to be asking for the same thing. I'm like, guess what? For healthcare people, it looks like this report is important, and because it's already in the data, so we can just write a program where instead of her asking, all she has to do is do a couple of clicks, and she can see that on her Repugen account, and she can see those information.
Yeah. What's so amazing though is that you did the MVP first, and then we add the extra bells and whistles, which will make it better for everybody in general and make them stay on anyway.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
I love this. I know we have to start wrapping up though, unfortunately, but I really appreciate you coming on again and explaining the whole process. The last question, and I don't know if you remember it from last time, but it's what's one action listeners can take this week to help move them forward towards their goal of 1 million?
Since we are talking about Repugen, I will again emphasize the fact that no matter what platform you use, online reviews, especially for small businesses, like I said, is the lifeblood now. Your customers, all the research survey says that over 90% of the people actually will go and check out a business before they contact them. And what are they checking? They are checking your website and they are checking your reviews. So you have to make sure that you have a website that reflects who you are, and then you have stellar reviews, because those are you cannot avoid that. I mean, the only there are some people who have a very, like I have one of my real doctor that I go to. He has horrible reviews, and the biggest reason is that he is always, the waiting time is always very long. And I told him, I said, have you checked the reviews, how bad it is? And he's like, oh, people are going to write whatever they're going to write. He can afford to do that because he is just packed. So it doesn't matter, he doesn't care what new patient anyway. But most of the businesses are not in that situation. So you have to make sure that you have a stellar reviews, online reviews on social media, and of course on the website. And this is going to be, one of the biggest way you are going to get new customers.
I love it. Okay, so everybody listening, ask for 5 reviews this week. He already told us how to do it manually. So 5 reviews. It's amazing how much just a few of them, especially on the positive side, will actually impact you. Thank you so much, AJ, for coming on the show. Where can we find out more about you, Repugen, and all that fun stuff online?
So the Repugen is the website is repugen.com. It's repugen.com. And right now, actually, your visitors or listeners can go and sign up. It's all set and go. So I've already put the body and the steering and everything on the engine, so someone can start driving it. And it was launched very recently. This new thing. And then of course my digital marketing agency is GMR Web Team, and you can go there and check out some of the case studies that we have done. And what you will find is you need to do digital marketing, and then to be successful in digital marketing, you need to have good reputation.
Definitely. Thanks so much for coming on the show today, AJ. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamie. It was my pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. And if you want more like it, go to eventualmillionaire.com. If you click on the millionaire case studies, you will see over 200 millionaire interviews. I don't want you to get overwhelmed, of course, but I do want you to pick the one that might make the biggest difference in your business today. So what's something you're struggling with, and take a look and see if one of those could specifically help you. Don't just take information for information's sake. I want you to be able to take the information, have it applicable to you right now. You use it, you take action, you see results, you come back and go, Jamie, that was amazing. That's what I want. So go check out eventualmillionaire.com and click on the millionaire case studies. Thanks.